Hello, minasan konnichiwa, and this is clip number 3, showing you the lesson 1 of self-introductions. In this chapter, they will teach you how to introduce yourself when you firstly meet somebody. Before we going to the content of the first dialogue, may I point out one of the essential part of Japanese grammar, which is particles. Are you ready? So let's get started. Japanese has one grammar system which is called particles. With looking at the words part, so you can guess that Japanese particle will make the sentence into many parts. It will show the part of speech of each word they follow. For example, some of them showing the subject, some of them showing the object, some of them showing the time, some of them showing the destination, some of them showing the transportation. So we will study one by one, all right? And particle will follow the word of the function. For example, the first one, particle wa. When Japanese say something and followed by wa, it means that whatever comes in front of the wa is the subject of a sentence. So when you read the Japanese passage, no matter how long it is and followed by wa, you know that all of them in front of wa is the subject of a sentence. If you remember this grammar pattern in last clip, you will understand that this means noun number 1 is noun number 2. So Japanese particle doesn't have a meaning. They don't have a meaning. They're just showing a part of speech of the word they followed. So in this case, noun number 1 is a subject, and then verb is at the end is noun number 2. Let's take an example. これは本です。これ, this one, 本, book. So これwa showing that we're talking about this. We're talking about this thing. And then what is this thing? This thing is a book. When you use wa in a sentence, even it's showing the subject, but the part after wa is an important message. So when you're talking about this, you want this message. What is this? This is a book. So by saying this is a book, the book becomes an important message you would like to communicate to other people. So let's catch up again while pointing out the subject in front of it. The next particle is particle no. When you have two nouns in a sentence and you would like to form them into one noun, you use no between noun and noun. Let me give you an example. Like I say in English, A-back student. A-back student. A-back is a noun, student is a noun. When they put it together, in Japanese we have to use no in between. And if you translate this no in English, you can also translate it as of or from. But actually the function is just to link between noun and noun. Let's see an example. A bag no kakse. A bag no kakse. So what does it mean? It means that the student from ABAC or the student of ABAC. Or in English we can just say ABAC student, right? ABAC student. If we say kochira wa kakse desu, this person is a student. This is already a complete sentence. But we want to give more definition to this student. What student? So we say ABAC no kakse, the student from ABAC. Alright, so the important message is the noun after no. The last one after no. This is an important message we're talking about. This is a student. But we want to talk more about what student. So we say ABAC no student. ABAC no kakse desu. Let's see another example. こちらはトヨタの弁護士です。If we just say こちらは弁護士です。This is a lawyer. This is already a complete sentence, but we want to give more definition to a lawyer. We say こちらはトヨタの弁護士です。This is a lawyer from Toyota. This is a lawyer working in Toyota. It has that kind of meaning. So let me catch everything up again. If you see wa in a sentence, it is showing a subject. If you see no in a sentence, it links between noun and noun. Alright? And the next particle we have already studied is ka. If you remember from last video clip, ka, you put it at the end of a sentence, it becomes a question. It becomes a question. So in chapter 1, we have studied particle wa, no, and ka. I hope you review this again and again. Now let's get started with the first conversation of chapter 1. Mr. Sasaki introduces Mr. Smith to Mr. Takahashi. So there are three people here: Mr. Sasaki, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Takahashi. They trying to do the introductions to each other. So let's look at the dialogue. Starting with Mr. Sasaki say, Takahashi-san, Mr. Takahashi. If you remember last time, when we add san to the name of a person, we respect that person. So this means Mr. Takahashi. こちらはスミスさんです。This is Mr. Smith. This is Mr. Smith. スミスさんは ABC フーツの弁護士です。Mr. Smith is a lawyer, right? 弁護士, lawyer. Lawyer of what? Lawyer of ABC Foods. This is the name of a company, ABC Foods. Again, Mr. Smith is a lawyer of ABC Foods. Mr. Smith say, はじめまして、スミスです。よろしくお願いします。You have already studied in last clip when somebody say はじめまして、よろしくお願いします。This is a pattern in Japanese when they would like to give a self-introduction. So the response to that would be はじめまして、よろしくお願いします。And Mr. Takahashi say はじめまして、のぞみデパートの高橋です。Now you see no again. It's link between noun and noun. This is like, hello, I'm Takahashi from Nozomi Department Store. Departo. Departo means department store. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Please take a very good care of me. Now, let me repeat the dialogue again. Takashi-san, こちらはスミスさんです。スミスさんは ABC フーツの弁護士です。Mr. Takashi, this is Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith is a lawyer of ABC Foods. はじめまして、スミスです。よろしくお願いします。Hello, nice to know you. I'm Smith. はじめまして、のぞみデパートの高橋です。よろしくお願いします。Hello, I'm Takashi from Nozomi Department Store. Very nice to know you. Now I hope you practice this dialogue again and again because it's an essential introduction pattern for Japanese people when they firstly meet each other. So let's move on to the next exercise on the next page. If you turn to the next page, you will see a map with people from around the world. If you read the vocabularies here at the bottom, you see number one, Nihon. Nihon means Japan. Jugoku, Jugoku, China. Deutsche, Deutsche, Germany. Ingilis, Igilis, England. America, America, America. Australia, Australia, Australia. Number 7, Thai, Thai, of course, Thailand. Now, if we add Jin at the end of the name of the country, it becomes people of that country. So you are showing your nationality. For example, Nihon means Japan, the country. Nihonjin means Japanese people. So Jugokujin means Chinese. Taijin means Thai people. Something like that. Alright, so just add Jin behind the name of the country. It becomes the person of that country. And the question word for this asking of nationality is Nani Jin. Nani Jin means what nationality? Nani Jin desu ka? Nani Jin desu ka means what nationality are you? I am Thai. Thai Jin desu. Thai Jin desu. Alright. Okay, so we move on to the next vocabularies. We're talking about occupations. As I show you in the last clip with the pictures, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 occupations here. The first one is a lawyer. We call bengoshi. Bengoshi. The second person is a secretary. We call hisho. Hisho. The third person is a student. It's called gakusei. Gakusei. And the fourth one is an engineer. We call engineer. Engineer. So we have bengoshi, hisho, gakusei, engineer. Before we end the chapter, we'll see that there are exercises for you to do by yourself. The more you do the exercise, the more you understand the concept of how to introduce yourself or your friends. And we're going to end the chapter by this short dialogue. Short dialogue on the last page of this lesson. Let's get started. The first short dialogue is a conversation at the reception desk of the company between Mr. Smith and the receptionist, Uketsuke receptionist. Mr. Smith say, ABC Foods no Smith desu. You know, when Mr. Smith visiting a company, he has to introduce himself to the receptionist first at the counter. So he say, I am Smith from ABC Foods. Takahashi-san o onegai shimasu. Can I speak to Mr. Takahashi? Onegai shimasu means please. When you ask to do something with a permission from somebody, you say onegai shimasu, onegai shimasu. Can I do this? Onegai shimasu. Takahashi-san o onegai shimasu. This is an expression mean can I have Mr. Takahashi or can I speak to Mr. Takahashi? The receptionist say hi, yes, hi, yes. This is a way to say yes in Japanese. If you say no, you say iie with double I and E. Double I and E. Read as iie, no. Hi, yes, iie, no. Okay, the next dialogue. It's a conversation between Mr. Chan and Mr. Nakamura. Somebody is visiting the house of Mr. Chan. So Mr. Chan is asking, Hi, donata desu ka? Hi, donata desu ka? Yes, who are you? Who are visiting? Mr. Nakamura said, Nakamura desu. Nakamura desu. I'm Nakamura. Mr. Chan said, Hi, do. So when you allow somebody to do something, you say, Hi, do. So it means please go on, please come in. For example, you eating food with your friends and then your friend asking, can I eat now? So you can say, Hi, do. So it means please, please, you can do it now. Okay? Or you asking your teacher, can I go to the toilet? The teacher say, Hi, do. So it means yes, please go on. Okay, please proceed. Please go to the toilet. Something like that. Hi, do. So this is chapter 1. In this chapter, you learn how to form a sentence with a pattern noun number 1 wa, noun number 2 desu. The meaning is noun number 1 is noun number 2. And then you learn that desu can change the form to negative, which is dewa arimasen. And then past form is deshita. And past negative form is dewa arimasen deshita. You just change the verb at the end of a sentence. And then you learn the particles, like particle wa, pointing out the subject of the sentence. Particle no means of or from, is used to link between noun and noun when you want to form a noun. And then you learn the particle ka. When you put it at the end of a sentence, it becomes a question. For example, これは何ですか? What is this? こちらはどなたですか? Who is this? And the last thing you learn from this chapter is to introduce yourself. When you firstly meet somebody, you say, はじめまして、よろしくお願いします. And another person will respond the same way, はじめまして、よろしくお願いします. I hope you understand the idea of introduction of lesson 1. And then next time we see you with lesson number 2. Until then, have a nice day. 皆さん、さようなら。 Sayonara. Goodbye. Until next time.